Hi, VencoreWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Thursday, January 28th. Quite an active weather pattern setting up for the next 7 days or so across the nation. It looks like a major storm will trek across the nation next week. First, it'll hit California with some significant rain and snow and wind late in the weekend or early next week. Then it'll move out into the central plains by the Tuesday or Wednesday time frame, causing blizzard conditions probably from the mountain states to the upper Great Lakes, perhaps a region from Denver to Minneapolis. On the southeastern flank of that storm, in the warm sector, it looks like there could be a severe weather outbreak, perhaps in a region from New Orleans up to Nashville in the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. By Wednesday, heavy rain could move into the I-95 corridor, could turn into a heavy rain event late Tuesday night, and on Wednesday it'll stay mild. In fact, winter takes a break. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, temperatures at or above the 50-degree mark in the D.C. to New York City corridor in that Sunday to Wednesday time period. And again, a heavy rain event is possible by about Wednesday. Then an Arctic front sweeps through the region. Much colder air moves back in by Thursday and Friday of next week. Well, before we focus in on next week's major storm trekking across the nation, let's take a look at a stratospheric temperature forecast. This is actually from last night's Zero-Z GFS model run. The forecast for temperatures way up in the upper part of the atmosphere, 10 millibars. Typically this time of the year, you have a cold polar vortex sitting right on top of this region. This is the North Pole right here. This is a top-down view of the North Pole, and here's that cold polar vortex 10 days from now. Occasionally, this time of the year, you get a sudden stratospheric warming event where temperatures just spike in the upper part of the atmosphere, and that is what this is showing 10 days from now. A very warm blob of air moving right towards the North Pole, displacing the normal cold polar vortex. And we have a posting on the climate info page of the weather website right now about this unfolding stratospheric warming event. Typically what happens, if indeed the polar vortex is displaced, that sets off a chain of events that moves cold air masses from the northern latitudes into the middle latitudes. In other words, this bodes well for some cold air outbreaks in the eastern U.S. during the month of February. Well, before we take a look at some computer forecast maps, let's take a look at the current surface map across the U.S. A couple of main players here. Frontal system draped across Florida. Low pressure sitting right on top of the front. That low pressure will move to the north and east over the next 24 hours or so, just missing the East Coast. Earlier in the week we thought there was a chance that could back up and affect the I-95 corridor. Looks like for the most part it stays off the East Coast. Meanwhile, upstream, a strong cold front cutting across the upper Midwest this morning. It's backed up by a strong Canadian cold high pressure system in southern Canada. That front moves towards the I-95 corridor and could very well cause some snow shower activity in the D.C., Philly, New York City metro regions very late tonight and tomorrow morning as we close out the work week. Well, let's take a look at some computer forecast maps. This is from last night's Zero-Z GFS model run for late tonight after midnight. That low pressure, pretty strong low pressure sitting off the mid-Atlantic coastline, but notice the precipitation field hanging to the east of the I-95 corridor. Again, it looks like for the most part that will miss us. However, a frontal system will be cutting across the Ohio Valley by late tonight. Green here showing where the snow shower activity will be associated with that frontal system. Let's now jump ahead 6 hours to tomorrow morning, Friday morning. By tomorrow morning, that low pressure system continues to pull away here off well east of the coastal region in the mid-Atlantic region. Notice the GFS putting out a little bit of green here across southeastern Pennsylvania. This is associated with this frontal system, and again, there can be some snow shower activity with that frontal system any time from very late tonight through the morning on Friday, anywhere up and down the corridor from D.C. to New York City. And here's the forecast map for early tomorrow afternoon. Notice GFS putting out an area, and all this will be in the form of snow shower activity throughout much of east central Pennsylvania, northeastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, all associated with that frontal system moving towards the coastal region, and the winds will pick up noticeably tomorrow afternoon, gusting up to 30 miles per hour or so. Quite a cold day, and it'll stay cold tomorrow night and on Saturday as well, before much milder conditions begin here on Sunday, and they'll last right through Wednesday of next week. Well, let's now jump ahead to next week. This is the forecast map for Sunday night. We'll look at 24-hour increments, looking at Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night. By Sunday night, notice winds here in the eastern U.S. out of the southwest. We begin a much milder period on Sunday. High temperatures, perhaps 45 to 50 degrees, will certainly continue the snow melt in the mid-Atlantic region. And here's that major storm system as of Sunday evening, dumping lots of snow in the higher elevations out west. It will have already pounded much of California with rain, snow, and wind, and that will continue to move in this fashion. Let's now jump ahead another 24 hours. And by Monday night, that low spills out into the central plains. There'll be a blizzard-like conditions to its northwest in places like Denver, and ultimately up across the upper part of the Great Lakes, let's say from Denver to Minneapolis. Now, meanwhile, on the southeastern or warm flank, in this sector right here, there could be very well be severe weather associated with this unfolding major storm. Again, this is Monday night, the Monday-Tuesday time frame for next week. Here's the forecast map for Tuesday night. That major storm pulls to the north and east towards the Great Lakes. On its northwest side, there'll be heavy snow in the northern plains and across the upper part of the Midwest. And again, could be some severe weather in its warm flank. Notice this band of precipitation headed right for the eastern states. In fact, let's now jump out another 24 hours. And here we go. This is the forecast map for Wednesday night of next week. And again, there can be a heavy rain event along the east coast anytime from very late Tuesday night through the day on Wednesday of next week. Following that, another Arctic blast, and this will be a widespread Arctic air outbreak all the way down into the deep south that reaches the I-95 corridor by about Thursday of next week, following what could be a heavy rain event in the midweek time period. That's it for now. For VencoreWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.